To another session of the Sea of Glass. Tonight we're going to do a little traveling into the new world. I want to show you what the new world would look like so you can come to understand the power that the Lord has left for us. You see, what we believe in the way the world is right now, we believe that there's a set of laws and you have to observe these laws in order to go to heaven, and you have all these things that you have to go, these little mountains, like they say in the book of Revelation, there you have to climb this little hill, this little mountain, in order to get to the promised land. But that's not what it is. It's a different world. You know, it's going to be different. People are not going to think like they think now. The human way of thinking is going to change. It's going to change because we're going from Moses, the lawgiver, to Joshua, the understanding of freedom. See, Joshua is the angel of freedom. Moses is the angel of the law. So you got to let the law go to get freedom. You really have to come into the kingdom of God with great freedom. You see, what happened before, everything was a law against you in order for you to go to heaven. And if you commit any kind of adultery, any kind of missing mass, or missing this, missing that, you were going to go to hell. And that was the law, the time of the law. Now the Lord is changing all this. He's making the new world. And the new world is going to be based on the understanding of freedom. It's where you can come to understand that you have to defeat all these evil kings in the land, the king of Or, and the king of, of the Amalekite, the Melechite, and the Bilekite, and everything else. You got to defeat these in order to be free in the understanding of the great power that the Lord has prepared for us. God is the truth, and He's going to set us free with that truth. And you got to come to understand that the book of Joshua is the most powerful book because it tells you what to destroy inside of you, so you can come to understand this great glory of being able to understand that God is the angel of freedom as well as the understanding. See, God didn't make us to be part of a system like the Catholic Church, to have all these laws and all these things that you had to be, and the priests had all these laws, and next thing you know, you had to make the vow of chastity, the vow of poverty. This is not the understanding of the new world. The new world is going to be done in the freedom of what we feel inside of ourselves. So let's read it and try to understand it. Come on, Rita.
Okay, people following at home, we're in the Old Testament, Deuteronomy, chapter 31, Joshua to succeed Moses. Then Moses went out and spoke these words to all Israel. I am now 120 years old, and I am no longer able to lead you. The Lord has said to me, you shall not cross the Jordan. The Lord your God Himself will cross over ahead of you. He will destroy these nations before you, and you will take possession of their land.
Okay, let me explain that now. Very important to explain that now. Moses is 120 years old. That's the thing, that's the understanding of life on earth. Man does not live over 120 years old. So what happened here, Moses said, I can't lead you no more. In other words, the law that the Lord has given you cannot lead the human spirit. You see, this is what we come to in the world now. You see, a lot of people look at the old laws and they say, well, we can't obey these laws. And you come to the understanding. But Joshua is the new leader, and he's going to succeed Moses. And it's going to be into the promised land. Promised land is that you're going to live in the place where freedom will be given to you without the great power of the teaching of the law. You see, what happened in the old world, we couldn't control ourselves because men were not intelligent enough to control themselves. And so we had to make laws on every single thing. And it's the same thing with, you know, the understanding of government. They made laws and laws and laws and laws. So in the new world, we're not going to have all these laws so you can live by the laws of the understanding. Now you're going to live with the laws of God in the understanding of its freedom. You know, what happened in the old way is that they made laws that you couldn't break and you could not understand. So they tell you, don't lie. But then the Bible was full of fib and full of, you know, all kinds of stuff. They said, well, they're not to believe in the Bible. You got to observe all these things that's written in the Bible, if it makes sense or not. Now, in the new laws, in the new way of understanding the new law, you have to learn to think like God thinks, not like man thinks. It's going to change from the value of what the old laws was into the understanding of a new set of laws that's going to come. And these new set of laws are going to be done in the power of the new world. You see, what happened to the old world, you taught that if you did anything wrong, it was your flesh that would be punished. You're going to go to this place called hell, and you're going to burn there for the rest of eternity. But you see, this is not going to happen like that. It's going to happen in the new world now. If you break a law, you will know what this law meant in the understanding of your existence. What happened before, you used to live and say, oh, well, I'll never understand these laws, and I don't have to understand them, and they didn't practice them. Well, it's going to be a different story, because the Lord God, in the heaven of your understanding, will write the laws in your heart. They won't be written in the book. They're going to be written in your heart. If you go and you lie to a person, it's going to affect your way of thinking. It's going to affect your way of feelings. And then you won't be able to feel like a free person no more. A free person is when you observe the law to the power of the law, and you have to let the law be inside of you as a person that comes to understand that law for the freedom of life. You see, what happened before is, that's why you have to go to the book of Joshua and destroy all these old kingdoms in there. The people that took root in the land and tell you, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. You see, it's not the flesh that's sin. It's your faith that's sin. If you have false faith and you keep believing that, it's what you believe that makes you good or evil. It's the understanding that inside of you, there's the power to change the law, the old laws of Moses, into the new laws of freedom and the understanding of life on earth. God is the truth, but you got to follow the truth, not to the understanding of mankind, but to the understanding of God's law. There's a difference between that. You see, what you learned in the new world, we worship Jesus and you go to heaven. Don't worship Jesus and go to hell. See, that was stupidity of the ignorance of the law, teaching the law back then. Now we're going to have a new way of understanding that Jesus is no longer existed in the world. It's going to be your common sense are going to be the new law. Common sense will tell you what to do, and you will live according to common sense. See, that's a big difference from what it was back then. You have to believe in a man, in the understanding of a man, in order for you to receive life on earth. Read some more, and then we got to really understand this.
Okay, Moses continued. Joshua also will cross over ahead of you, as the Lord said. And the Lord will do to them what he did to Sihon and Og, the kings of the Amorites, whom he destroyed along with their land.
Okay, you got to really understand this phrase here. Joshua comes in the name of freedom. He used to have the laws of adultery, the laws of lying, the laws. You see, these set of laws are king. They were king in the old world, but they're not going to be king in the new world. So you got to destroy them. You go to court, and you're not allowed to lie in self-defense. but then you are allowed to lie for murder in self-defense. See, the laws were not written in the power of yourself. They were written to punish you at all time. If you break a law, you get the. So what's going to happen when you cross over the Jordan into the new land? The Jordan is the river of life, and you're crossing over the river of life from the stupidity that we have been taught as children of God into the old world. It's coming into this new understanding in heaven that it's not going to be like that no more. The laws of adulteries will change. You will be allowed to have sex without marriage. You'll be able to allow to have, and it's not going to be a sin no more. It's not going to be like it was. And, you know, the laws of one man, one woman will not exist no more. Marriage will disappear. And you will see the greatest power of freedom the world has ever seen. See, what happened to the old world is, if you were a good-looking person, you could get a woman, you can get a wife, you know, and there was no problem with the old world. But it was not for everybody. Now the new world comes, everybody, and there's no more ugliness, and there's no more this, and there's no more that. Freedom comes before all the laws of the old world. And you're going to see the new world coming. And God will make all these laws disappear in front of you. You will come to understand that these laws that man has made, it's not the laws of God that will change you. It's the laws that man has made inside themselves to make themselves good and evil. But it's not going to be like that. It's going to be a new world that will come in the understanding of freedom. You will be free to love. You will be free. See, in the old world, you were not free to love everybody. In the new world, you will be. It's not going to be a different thing, what it's going to be, but life is everlasting. And you will come to understand that the freedom of this life will come to be part of your life and every life that's to come to you. And see, the kingdom of God is everlasting. And you've got to come to understand the power. See, these things have never been explained on earth before. See, the old priests and the old false prophet of Christianity and the church and all that, they didn't know any better. So they only preach what their little mind of human can preach. And they made it look like you have to observe them in order to get to the promised land. Now, the promised land is going to be in a different cycle of human understanding. Read some more, because there's a lot of power in here.
The Lord will deliver them to you, and you must do to them all that I have commanded you. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you.
You see, the wisdom of the Lord is totally, totally different from the wisdom of man. And you see, what we have made ourselves, we made the marriage a sacred thing. It's not going to be sacred no more. It's not going to be because it kept too many people and they hurt too many people, and it didn't really. So the Lord said, okay, now I'm going to get rid of this. You know, you don't have to have the mark of the beast on your forehead, on your right hand. You don't have to be married to anybody in order to be free to love, to be free to, you know, to be able to understand. And you're going to live in a world of freedom. You're not going to live in a world where you have to be tied up to one person for all your life, and then you're not going to be. No, that's not going to take relationship away from you now. That's not going to take the power of a relationship. Power of relationship will come to be in the understanding of these new understanding of the law. It's going to be part of Joshua, the freedom of the heart, to be able to love, you know, and without ownership, to love in a way that it makes sense, not in a way that it doesn't make sense. Now, a guy was so jealous of his wife in the old world, and he made himself miserable, and he made his wife miserable, and he made everybody around him miserable, because he thought that he owned that woman. He thought, and that woman was the same with him. She thought he owned that man. But there will be a new time. And the new time will come to come to bless the giving of life on earth, where all that is in life is going to be part of freedom. It's going to be part of a world that you're going to come and you're going to be able to understand, and you're going to be able to love without ownership. You don't need ownership in order to love. See, what made the world not love each other is the ownership. People didn't want to be owned by anybody. And the thing is, you went for the laws that didn't make sense, and you didn't went for the laws of freedom. And what's going to happen, the new world will come, and it's going to penetrate, and people are going to be able to come to the understanding of the new world. And it's not going to be like the old world where you broke the law and you're evil, and you did not break the law and you're good. See, this is the way it is right now in the world. If a man goes to work every day, does all the right things in life, he's a good man. And if a person does not do this and goes for a little bit of freedom for himself, these people are going to change. They're going to come to the understanding of the new world, and they're going to travel in this. Now, it doesn't mean that people will not work every day. It does not mean that people will not do the same thing they did in the old world, but it means that all the new things will be new, and you will have respect for people of all kinds. You see, what happened is there was a whole group of people in the old world that go to work. They went to work every day. They were ambitious. That's all there was. And then there was a whole group of people that were not ambitious. Now, what we're going to do in the new world, it's going to be a divided hoof, a power to step on the world as one. If you have the power to understand this new world that's coming, you will be free from all. See, in the old world, you had to listen to your boss. You had to listen to the company that you work for. But it's going to be different. Most people will have business for themselves in the new world, and they'll sell to you within the laws of freedom. Go ahead.
Then Moses summoned Joshua, excuse me, and said to him in the presence of all Israel, "Be strong and courageous, for you must go with this people into the land that the Lord swore to your forefathers to give them, and you must divide it among them as their inheritance. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged."
You see, when he tells you don't be afraid now, the Lord is going to teach. He's going to teach you. And you in the world, you are on your own. You went to work on your own in the morning. If you didn't feel like going to work, it didn't feel like you wanted to do something else, see, you didn't have this freedom. What's going to happen in the new world, things are going to change. They're going to change so dramatically that you will see. But the Lord will not forget you. You can't jump to a conclusion that, the hell is it going to be? People are going to be lazy. That's not the point. The point is that God will be with you. Don't be afraid of the new world. Don't be afraid of the new time that's coming. Don't condemn it. Try to understand it. The world is changing right now. And you can see the people talking about the people that don't work half the time. You can talk about the people that, have sex with different partner and everything else. Well, you see, in the new world, these people are going to be respected. And it's going to be different than the old world. The old world, you were supposed to be this perfect person, church-going person. You're not going to go to church in the new world. You're not going to have a preacher telling you what to do. God will come in every heart, and he will spread his laws and his understanding in every heart around us. So you're going to live in the freedom of the truth, not the freedom that man has made for you, but the freedom of truth, where a person comes to the understanding of himself and understand others by understanding himself, and the laws God placed in front of him are going to be justice. The laws of justice, laws of fairness. And you see, the law is going to change. Love is not going to be like it was in the old world, where you didn't like a person because he was doing this wrong or that wrong. The law will come to be a place of knowledge, and it's going to be a place of common sense. The real Son of God is going to come alive inside of you. It's not going to be a man that's going to save the world. It's going to be the understanding of the wisdom of the Lord that's going to save the world. You're going to save ourselves. You see, people don't think right now. Most people don't think that we have a noble destiny. But we do have a noble destiny. But it's not going to be like mankind thinks. Because if you think like mankind, then you'll never have a noble destiny in life. You'll never be able to cross over the Jordan. You'll never be able to go in the understanding of that freedom that's coming into the world. You're going to break the laws of Jericho. You're going to break all these rules. The big rule, the rule of, and everything that all the gossip people did in the past will not mean nothing no more, because people that that come to the kingdom of God will be within themselves with the freedom of the Lord inside themselves. They're not going to think that the Lord will punish them. See, in the old world, they used to say, well, if you do this, the Lord will punish you for it. You see, we're not going to hear these. You're going to be with the Lord, and the Lord's going to be with you in your freedoms. And you're not going to have jobs that's going to be there every day. You're going to have jobs that you're going to be free with. You make some money, you're going to be in business for yourself, or you'll have the great power of making enough money for yourself to have, according to the law of God, what you need to do. See, what happened is the world changed its course. And when the world changed its course, you're going into the new understanding of Joshua, the angel of freedom. And you see, Moses will die there. The old laws will die. And they will die because you were not be able to be free with the old laws. Go ahead there, Rita. Read some more.
The reading of the law. So Moses wrote down this law and gave it to the priests, the sons of Levi, who carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and to all the elders of Israel. Then Moses commanded them, at the end of every 7 years, in the year for canceling debts, during the Feast of Tabernacles, when all Israel comes to appear before the Lord your God at the place he will choose, you shall read this law before them in their hearing.
Okay, let's look at the laws of Moses here. We're not changing the laws. The Lord will not change the law, and you won't be allowed to kill people. You won't be allowed to rape people. You won't be allowed to do that. But the Lord will live inside of you to prevent you from doing these things. See, what we don't understand, we as men on earth, we don't understand the way God thinks. And as soon as you believe, if you look at the Old Testament, and when they didn't have any water, they panicked and they went like crazy, and they said, well, we're going to die here. We should have been left in Egypt, in the land. You see, this is going to change, because the Lord will be inside of each one of us in the understanding of the value of the laws of God. It's not going to be like it is in here, where a person don't understand none of the laws of God and try to live by the laws of false religion. False religion was a big plague on, but God said, I'm going to send you false religion so you can believe in Catholicism and Muslim and all these born-again Christian and all this stuff, so you can see where you did wrong. Because without you being able to do wrong, you can never understand right. So this was a way for God to bring you to this kingdom that we're coming into, in the understanding of the freedom of life itself. Now, you say, okay, now, what's going to happen if a man wants a wife for the rest of his life? Well, you see, it's not going to be like it was. You ain't going to feel that you need to have the same woman around you forever. And if you're a woman, you won't feel that you have. You see, what happened in the old world, it came to a crash right now, where people don't really get along with each other when you're married, because the power of the false marriage of the beast is going to come to a crashing end, because you can live life and trying to live according to another person's rule. See, in marriage, you have to listen to your wife has to listen to her husband, and it was going on back and forth, until you come to the point that you fought and you hated each other, and then you couldn't stand each other. You see, you still can have a relationship in the new world. You will be able to find a nice, beautiful woman, and you'll be able to live, but it's not yours. See, it's going to be different. The Lord said, I'm going to take the laws of ownership. I'm going to take the laws of jealousy away. I'm going to take these laws and all the laws, because the book of Joshua is telling us about all these things that you're going to destroy. The king of Hor, the king of this, the king of that, the Amalekite, the new, see, all of these things has to be destroyed inside of you. See, people came and formed their little religion and made a set of laws for themselves, and they based it on the laws of Moses. But the laws of Moses were never really explained to the world. So what the Lord said here, the Lord said, okay, now I'm going to explain the laws of Moses, so you can come to understand the laws of Moses, and you're going to be able to provide yourself with a knowledge with the laws of Moses to live in the new world, where you don't have these things, the laws against all freedom, the laws against all. You see, in the new world, you'll be able to understand why this one person falls in love but don't have to marry this person. We can love one another without being tied down to one another. You see, this is what's going to happen. The new set of laws is coming in the understanding of this great power. And I've been saying for years and years that the book of Joshua is the most powerful book of all the scriptures. It's like a new way of understanding the new world. You're crossing the Jordan. You're crossing the laws of the river of life here. And you're going to the laws, the real laws of God. It's not going to be like it was, the laws of the church, a Pope made laws, and all the stupidity of the past. It's not going to be like that. See, the Pope used to make a law, don't eat meat on Friday. Didn't have no explanation of that law. There was nothing to explain that law. What it did, was the law of fasting. But he didn't understand what fasting was, because he brought the beast to the highest pointer equal to God. Now we're going to take that beast that's inside of him, and we're going to leave it for the animal of the earth, and we're going to come to a law that makes sense, and there's a reason for these laws. You see, what happened in the old laws, you have to go to church on Sunday. If you don't go to church on Sunday, it's not a literal sense, but it's a mortal sense. Oh my God, man, big stuff, because they wanted you to go to church and give money to church so that the church can be supported. But you see, they never explained that law to people, so people say it was a mortal law. So if you don't go to church on Sunday, you will be mortal. You will die and go to hell. You see, this was never explained in the world. See, all the laws of religion that made people practice religion without the understanding of this powerful knowledge that we are within ourselves a reason of the power of freedom. See, that freedom was taken from us, from religion, from popes, from priests, from, all the way down to the poor little person that lived without any education whatsoever, and came to understand that it was not fair laws. The poor guy that didn't have, wasn't really good looking, was not really attractive to the other sex, had to do without. and it was not fair. The new law will come where everybody will be able to love everybody fairly. And it's going to change, I tell you. And no one in this world will be able to deny the freedom of truth that comes from the Lord himself. Read some more.
Assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the aliens living in your towns, so they can listen and learn to fear the Lord your God, and follow carefully all the words of this law. Their children who do not know this law must hear it and learn to fear the Lord your God as long as you live in the land you are crossing the Jordan to possess.
Okay, now, this is so much power in this here. It's almost unbelievable. The Lord tells you here, I'm going to change these laws. I'm going to change that stupidity, that stupid marriage that doesn't make sense and makes people so miserable. You know, if you ever been through a divorce, you know, where one side can take everything you have, you know. I mean, there was so much pain in there, so much suffering in there that you never realized could be. And because you were not really that happy in that marriage to begin with. So it was on both sides where people that stay married all their life were kind of miserable because they were stuck into it. And the people that got divorced got stuck to lose what they have, and it was all kinds, all the way around, a terrible, painful way to live, because you could not understand that crossing the river, crossing the Jordan, that God has planned one day that this world will come to cross that river of knowledge that's going to come to be. It's not going to be a river like the St. John River or the Connecticut River. It's going to be a river of knowledge, and it's going to bear fruit 12 times a year. You will come to increase in value and in wisdom as you live inside the life. If you hurt someone, you will come to understand the pain and the suffering that you hurt that person, and you're going to have to go back. You see, the Lord will be with you, but it's going to be with you in a way that I'm not taking pain away here. I'm taking the suffering of ignorance away, not the pain of life itself. You're going to have to be in the understanding that life will not be a place where you have no freedom. You're going to have your freedom. That's what the Lord wants to tell the people of the world today. I'm going to make freedom. And that freedom is going to be what I made that to be, that the people of this world will come to understand the glory of this intelligence that's coming into the world. You see, what happened before now, people did not realize how evil the world is because they adapt to it. And they said, well, if we get divorced, then we're going to be on this side. If we don't get divorced, we're going to be miserable with each other. And that's not the way it is. Now, when you meet a new person, or you meet a person for the first time, and you kind of like this person, and they kind of like you, you could have a freedom for a moment, for a time. And then when that runs out, just like a bottle of wine, when that runs out, you have a new one coming. And it's the way it is. Life is everlasting in the freedom of intelligence. Read some more.
Israel's rebellion predicted. The Lord said to Moses, "Now the day of your death is near. Call Joshua and present yourselves at the tent of meeting where I will commission him." So Moses and Joshua came and presented themselves at the tent of meeting.
Okay, you got to be very, very careful here. This is the understanding of a new life now. You see, what people did not do, they rebelled against the Lord. Because, you know, whatever rebellion is in the New Testament and all the 5 books of the New Testament will be in the world. People will come to hate God. You will see people, because they will not be able to understand the new life as a new life is coming. They probably think that the Lord will destroy life itself, and they'll be afraid to go walk into the new world and try to live life according to their feelings. But the time will come when the Lord will penetrate the human spirit and you'll be able to understand it. But first, before you understand it, you will be rebellion. You will be rebellion against the new life, because nobody wants to have a life with uncertainty. Nobody wants to be uncertain about the new way of thinking. And the reason that I bring this today here is because I want to tell you that there's a new world coming. And this new world is coming really, really fast right now. And the people of this world will come to hate the power of change. But it has to come for the new world to come. Has no way of being introduced to mankind unless you have the great power that the rebellion has to come to be. God said, every rebellion that's in the Bible from the time of Egypt until the time of now, where the law was given to you and all the power of the understanding, will all be lived again and again until people in a couple of thousand years from now will be able to live according to this new way of understanding. Now, God said that I'm not going to bring this in a new world, and it's not going to be painful forever. It's going to be painful because the great power of change is going to come into it, and you're going to be able to look at yourself and say, my God, where are we going? Because, you see, the human mind and the human spirit is not used to this kind of change. They're not used to the great power of the new world coming and at a great speed right now, where everything is coming. Religion will be defeated. The new world will come. Government won't be as strong in the people as they were. Nobody with an image will be able to be successful with that image. It's going to change. People will not worship people, but they will worship intelligence. And worship, the only way to worship intelligence is try to be intelligent yourself. This is how you worship the great power of the reason of God, is to understand that the reason that we reason in the way of God is because we have to learn it. And if we don't learn it, we are going to be in left field. You won't be able to cross over this great power of religion that's coming to the world right now, and it's going to change. The whole world will change. People that goes to church now will kind of lose their feelings, and it will go from one generation to the next, and the new generation will come, and the old generation won't be able to explain it fast enough for them to become adult, and it's going to go, and that's what they meant there, from one generation to the next. You know, time will come. The old days is the grandfather. The new days is the father. And the children of the father will be the new coming time. And it's going to change itself. And the new wine will come to live in the land of Canaan. You know, the new wedding feast of intelligence will come to live. And it's not going to be like the old wine, let me tell you that. You see, all these parables and all these things that were said in the scriptures is meant to be as is. You're going to see the wedding of Canaan. It's not going to be a wedding feast like the old wedding feast where you dress the woman in white and you dress the man in black suit, and then you bring the two together in some church somewhere and some guy say all kinds of... It's not the wedding feast of intelligence. The new wedding feast of intelligence is going to be the mind and spirit. And the new way of understanding that mind and spirit will be able to cross over into this lane of wisdom. Read some more.
Then the Lord appeared at the tent in the pillar of cloud, and the cloud stood over the entrance to the tent. And the Lord said to Moses, "You are going to rest with your fathers, and these people will soon prostitute themselves to the foreign gods of the land they are entering. They will forsake me and break the covenant I made with them. On that day I will become angry with them and forsake them. I will hide my face from them, and they will be destroyed."
Okay, be very careful here to understand the Lord. If you want to be on the side of the Lord, you have to be on the side of life. You see, freedom is the side of life. And abundance in the land of Egypt is debt. You know, when you were in the land of Egypt, and I'm not talking about the Egyptian across the ocean, I'm talking about the Egyptian of religion. You know, you're talking about those that put you in bondage and those that had a whip for you. And every time you did something wrong, they whip you for it. Even though you probably thought it was right, you probably thought there was nothing wrong with it, but they whipped you anyway. See, this is the day that's going to come. And people are going to be rebellion. They're going to be rebellion because they're going to try to protect the old world. And it's going to take generation after generation to get rid of this old world. It's not going to be an easy world to cross over into it. You know, it's not going to be easy. But to the people that understands, to the people that wants to understand, and the people that try to live according to the understanding of the new world, the world will come to be a place of knowledge. And you will see the knowledge coming, and you will see the freedom that will come out of it. It won't be like the old world, let me tell you. But the old world has to be destroyed. The new earth and the new heaven has to be destroyed in order to bring this new heaven and this new earth to the region of the great power of reason. God is the truth, and he's going to bring that truth to the light of mankind, whether you like it or you don't like it. You know, or if you agree with it or you don't agree with it. It doesn't matter what you agree with, because none of us are God. God is the one that brings it. God is the one that changes it. And you cannot change the power of the divine spirit that's above us. There's a divine spirit, and that divine spirit will make it happen as is in the Lord of freedom. Okay, read some more. This is so powerful.
Many disasters and difficulties will come upon you, and on that day they will ask, have not these disasters come upon us because our God is not with us? And I will certainly hide my face on that day because of all their wickedness in turning to other gods.
Okay, what is that turning to other God? Now, this is very important to understand that. You see, the Lord is sending us a new angel of freedom into the world. The Lord is sending a new set of laws. The Lord is sending us what he said that he was going to happen from the very beginning of time. And if you worship that God, you're going to accept that. You're going to accept the new earth and the new heaven and the new way of thinking and everything else. But if you don't, you go back to your old God, you're going to lose. You're going to lose big time. And you're going to lose what was inside of you that would have made sense but didn't make sense, because the understanding of what was to be and what it is to be will be different. And you have to worship the new God, not the God of the old world, not the way it used to be. You used to go to church and pray to the priest, and the priest would said, well, I'm going to make those prayers happen in heaven. He didn't understand nothing about heaven to begin with. And the thing is, all he could do was lie to you about the way it was, because he didn't understand the way it is. So he said, well, okay, now that's the way you know, I don't understand anymore. I'm just a man. So I explain to you as a man. But when you come to the divine spirit, you have to go to the power of the new understanding that the Lord has made for us to be able to cross over the Jordan into the land that is coming to you. Now, God is not going to make this new land in your favor. He's going to make this new land in his favor. And he's not going to make you be happy with it. He's not going to do that. To the people that want to follow the real God, then be on the side of the Lord. But to the people that wants to be with the old way of thinking, well, you're going to have to be with your old God. You cannot be with the new God, because the new God is making the new world. You like it or not, you accept it or not, you believe it or not, that has nothing to do with the new world. because the new world will change itself, its course, and the understanding of all the power it is. You see, when I come here and tell you about it, it's because I understood it. I understand this new world perfectly. It's coming, and there's nothing that we can do to stop it from coming. It's going to be there, and it's up to the people of this world to adjust to it. Just adjust yourself like a new star. It's going to come, and it's going to be. You know, I remember when I was a kid, we used to go watch movies of Elvis Presley and you know, Marilyn Monroe and all the people of the past. Now you have new stars, a new comedy. You have new things, and you have to adjust to these things if you want to be, you know, part of this world. It's the same thing with the new world. It's going to be so different that you're going to live life, and you're going to make a respectable life out of what you used to believe was the worst life that you can possibly have. And people of the world will come to adjust themselves in this new world. Go ahead, read some more. We got.
Now write down for yourselves this song and teach it to the Israelites and have them sing it, so that it may be a witness for me against them. When I have brought them into the land flowing with milk and honey, the land that I promised on oath to their forefathers, and when they eat their fill and thrive, they will turn to other gods and worship them, rejecting me and breaking my covenant.
Okay, the most powerful phrase is said here: milk and honey. You know, you'll be able to love woman and man in milk and honey. You'll be able to understand the new world, because I'm fabricating a new world out of the old world. I'm leaving the old world behind, and I'm bringing forth the power of this new understanding of life. Whoever God is in the new world will not be admired in the same way in the new world. It's going to be different. And you've got to learn to understand that the power that we had before will have to come to an end. And you'll have to come to understand the new power of love on earth. Love will not be like it was in the old world. Let me tell you that. You will not be able to understand the same love story as you understood it you will not be able to cross over the Jordan into this man of the great power of the wedding of Canaan, where mind and spirit comes together to fight for the new world to be. You see, whatever it was in the old world will be defended by the people of the old world. But to the people that comes to the new world will have to defend the new truth that will make them free. A lot of people don't believe the way life is, because life is part of a fantasy world right now that we're living in. And nobody wants to give the fantasy away. I mean, you don't. You have a little fantasy world that you're living by. And you think that that's going to last forever, but it's not going to last forever. You see, the fantasy's got to die out. And the new way of thinking, the new way of understanding life will come to fight for the truth and fight for the new freedom of the world. You see, what will be changed from the old law to the new freedom will be changed forever and ever. And you cannot come into this world. In other words, this world here, this world is the only world that we have. You can't say, well, I'm going to go to another planet somewhere. I don't like this. They have a better world there. No, this world is created by the Almighty God to be the world that all men will come to be part of. And if you don't like it, that's tough luck. But you're not going to be able to change it with your anger, with your stupidity, with your ignorance. You won't be able to do that. The new world is coming. And all the old things of the old world and the old heaven and the old earth will come to be no more. You won't see church going to church. You won't see that in the new world. It will be gone. It'll probably take a couple of hundred years, a couple of thousand years, but it will come to be no more. So you got to get used into this world here. Try to change you as a person in this life so you can come to understand that the new life and the new world is coming to you. And the faster you can change to it, and the faster that you can adapt yourself to it, you will be able to understand. But, you know, you get people out there that listen to me today, and they're probably going to say, well, this guy's crazy. Because I'm going to the new world faster than they can understand. You know, we go into this new way of thinking much faster than they can understand. See, what's going to change about the world? It's not going to get a new world somewhere else. It's going to be a new world here in the understanding of our understanding. And you cannot make your own planet and make your own rules somewhere else because it won't work. This is the planet that the Lord has chosen to change the world. And whoever don't like this world cannot go back to the land of Egypt. They can go and practice the old religion. They can go and practice all they want, but they'll be miserable by it. And the people that will accept the new world will accept the new water of life, will accept the wedding feast of Canaan, the understanding of the wedding feast of intelligence between mind and spirit. And that's the way it's got to be. If you come to understand this new world that we are creating for ourselves here, you're going to be able to understand that there's a new way of life coming. Earth and heaven. It's going to be here. And it's not going to be. And the old one will disappear forever. The old heaven, and they tell you in the book of Revelation, there will be a new heaven and a new earth. And there's nothing that all the little human being of the earth can do to change that from coming. Okay, we go read it a little bit more, Rita, and then, you know.
And when many disasters and difficulties come upon them, this song will testify against them, because it will not be forgotten by their descendants. I know what they are disposed to do, even before I bring them into the land I promised them on oath. So Moses wrote down this song that day and taught it to the Israelites.
Okay, you don't have to do the song.
No.
But we'll do the thing is because we're almost out of time here.
Yeah.
But you got to understand the power of change. It's coming. And there's nothing that no pope can do about it, that no born-again Christian can do about it, that no Jesus can do about it. The new world is coming, and it's coming very rapidly right now. And you can see religion falling all over the place. You know, people are not going to church no more because the Lord is preparing the human spirit to understand the new earth and the new world. So we can come to live in the freedom of our understanding and in the freedom of ourselves. You see, the old world was made with marriage and vows and stupidity and ignorance. You're not going to have that no more. You're not going to have vows of chastity and vows of stupidity and then take people into prison and teach them to be a nun and to be a priest or a brother. Okay, yes. Anyway, you're not going to have that no more. The new world is coming, and it's coming as is. And there's nothing that anyone can do about it, because what is the great power? Now I pray for the people to grow in the understanding of this new world. Now, what I introduce today and bring it today is what it is in the understanding. I just want to try to prepare people to understand the new coming time, the new planet, the great power of the world that we have as we know it, and the change that's coming to this world that's going to be so dramatic on those that have faith in false religion. I pray for the people of false religion to come to the loss of their soul and to bring a new soul for them, a new heart, a new way of understanding the great power of themselves. Okay, you know, you got to understand that the power of that new world is within you. And if you want to come to understand You have to look inside your heart. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you all, and I'll see you another time. Goodbye.